Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're opening up a stack of sources that tell, well, a truly fascinating story about sustainable development.
It's about achieving real, measurable change. And, not just through charity, but through strategic technology transfer.
Exactly. We're doing a deep dive into Nepal, specifically looking at this really successful dairy productivity project launched by KOIC.
And this is exactly the kind of story we need to examine. It's a perfect illustration of how blending high-tech management systems with simple, vital infrastructure can transform an entire economic sector.
Right, and it leads directly to self-reliance, hitting those critical sustainable development goals.
Our focus today is on this integrated project that was applied to smallholder farmers in Kamalamai municipality.
So before we get into all the stats and, the spreadsheets, I want to start with the person who really anchors this change. A girl named Srijana.
Oh, yeah.
She's only 13 years old, living in the village of Sinduli. But she's already, in a way, running a business. She wakes up at 4 a.m. to milk her cow.
Her cow, which she named Dream. And that name is just incredibly symbolic, isn't it?
It really is.
Because that cow, it represents her family's entire economic stability. The milk Srijana helps collect and process contributes to her family's daily income of about 151 rupees.
And when you look at that, 151 rupees daily, that translates into a stable income. It can be the equivalent of, 200,000 to 300,000 won a month?
For a family in rural Nepal, that is a transformative amount of reliable cash flow.
Absolutely.
And Srijana herself, she captured the significance perfectly. She was quoted saying, "I'm glad I can afford my children's school meals myself."
Wow.
That shift from worrying about daily survival to guaranteeing a child's education, that's the ultimate goal of these programs.
And this all started back in April 2023.
That's right. With the launch of the KOICA,
Yeah.
which is Korea's main international development agency, and their integrated dairy productivity improvement project.
Okay, let's unpack the high stakes involved here, because this project isn't just about a few farmers, is it? It's about the economic health of Nepal itself.
Oh, completely. The country has this monumental dependence on agriculture.
It's the engine of the economy.
It really is. The 2023 National Statistics Office data shows that an astonishing 61.91% of all households are directly engaged in farming.
That's over 4 million households.
Exactly. That concentration is just staggering.
And if you look at the contribution to GDP, agriculture accounts for 26.27% of Nepal's total. To put that into perspective for you, that's roughly 6 times the global average.
And within that huge sector, livestock farming is incredibly vital.
Right.
It contributes about 9% of the national GDP. So, if you can unlock productivity there
They're stabilizing millions of lives.
and injecting efficiency into a quarter of the country's entire economy.
But this is where we get to the massive problem, the reason for the intervention in the first place.
Yeah.
The productivity gap. What did the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock Development, the MOLD, what did their data show?
The data showed a systemic failure in productivity, a complete failure.
How so?
Well, while Nepal has 2.88 million milking cows, the annual production was only 256,000 tons. And the single most important and frankly depressing statistic from our sources is the average daily milk yield per cow.
Which was?
2.45 liters.
2.45 liters. Now, I don't track dairy yields, but that sounds incredibly low. Can you put that number into perspective for everyone?
It's disastrously low. The accepted global average for a milking cow is somewhere between 6 and 8 liters per day.
So they're not even close.
Not even in the same ballpark. When a cow yields only 2.45 liters, it means the farmer is barely covering their feed costs, let alone generating any profit or growth. They are completely stuck in subsistence mode.
So the mission was to close that gap.
To essentially multiply that daily yield by introducing advanced systems.
Okay, so how did they execute this intervention? We know KOICA was involved, but you mentioned this was a major multinational effort.
It was a powerful collaboration. You had KOICA, Heifer Korea, the Korean Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, all working with the National Agricultural Cooperative Federation.
And the solution wasn't just, here's some better cows.
No, not at all. Though they did distribute 106 high-yield milking cows. 80 of those went directly to 51 households in Sintuli village, like Srijana's.
And they established the physical foundation, too, the milk collection centers, the refrigeration systems. You can't build a dairy business if the milk spoils before it gets to market.
Exactly. But the true game changer wasn't the hardware. It was the software, the knowledge system they transferred.
That's where the Korean livestock expertise came in.
Right. They focused on 3 sophisticated yet highly practical management areas that were just missing from that kind of experience-based farming.
And what were those three areas?
First was individual cow health management. Second, they trained them on balanced feed formulation, making sure the cow gets the exact nutrition it needs to maximize its yield.
And the third?
And third was systematic hygienic milking techniques, to reduce contamination and improve the overall quality of the milk.
And this was all backed by structured support, like one-on-one consulting, quality inspections at the collection centers.
Precisely.
I can see why just basic training wouldn't have been enough. They weren't just learning how to milk, they were learning how to scientifically manage a herd for peak performance.
That's the key. And the outcome.
What were the results?
The results were immediate and profound. By introducing this systematic management, the daily milk production increased by more than 1.5 times.
From that abysmal 2.45-liter baseline.
Exactly. And that single statistic, that represents the difference between a family just barely surviving and a family achieving genuine economic stability.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting, because the project didn't just stop at productivity. They integrated climate resilience and sustainability.
Which is crucial, especially in those rural areas near the Himalayas.
Right. They implemented solar power, but the hidden economic hero here seems to have been the biomass system.
What's so fascinating is the sheer ingenuity of it. You're solving two problems with one piece of infrastructure. The goal of the biomass system was to process animal waste manure in an environmentally friendly way.
Reducing the ecological burden.
Yes, but the economic benefit was huge.
So explain how that works, because our sources say it saved $7 per month per household, and we need to understand why $7 is such a big deal in this context.
Absolutely. The biomass system is essentially a digester that converts the manure into usable cooking gas.
So it's replacing their traditional LPG gas usage.
That's right. And for a rural smallholder family, saving $7 a month, well, that's often the equivalent of a substantial portion of their monthly budget for fuel or even for rice. It's a direct, immediate saving on a basic need.
I read that the CEO of Heifer Korea noted there was some initial resistance to installing these systems. It seems counterintuitive that farmers would resist saving money.
Well, they initially resisted the new infrastructure, yes, because it was different. But the financial benefits quickly spoke for themselves.
The savings won them over.
It did. The system produced about 7 kilograms of biomass per month, delivering that consistent saving. The resistance faded, and now about 120 households have voluntarily adopted the system.
That's a great illustration of how technology sells itself when it really hits the bottom line.
It shows how sustainability can drive adoption when the economic benefits are tangible.
So now let's talk about the leap into the 21st century. Digital transformation. They didn't just give them a cow and a digester, they gave them smart tracking capabilities through the Farmer's Hands application.
This is truly innovative for this region. The application was developed by a Korean startup called Bodit, which was selected for the KINO Global Program. It's an app-based dairy management system.
So why did a farmer dealing with 2.45 liters of milk need a high-tech app and neck sensors? Couldn't basic training have solved the problem?
Basic training fixes the hygiene problem for sure, but this technology prevents future catastrophe. The key is that the app connects to devices attached to the cow's necks. So let's imagine a scenario. Srijana gets an alert on her phone at 10 a.m. because the sensor noticed her cow, Dream, hasn't moved for 2 hours, or her temperature is slightly off.
That early detection is critical.
Precisely. The app detects these abnormal signs, enabling an immediate early response to disease. It also constantly analyzes feed efficiency.
So it shifts rearing entirely.
Completely. It goes from traditional experience-based management, which often means waiting until the cow is obviously sick, to scientific and systematic management. It prevents production dips and potential herd loss.
And if we connect this technological change back to the human impact, especially for women, this is where the social dynamics really shifted.
This is the most profound outcome, I think, and it's a direct achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Traditionally, women were primarily involved in household chores and, auxiliary tasks.
But with the digital systems...
So with the introduction of the digital systems in the organized milk collection centers, women received extensive training in using these devices and managing the centers themselves.
They weren't just given a job, they were given expertise.
Absolutely. Through the Farmer's Hands app, women grew into practical dairy experts. They became the primary keepers of the data, meticulously recording health status, organizing milk production data, identifying trends.
That expertise gave them social capital.
It did. They started voluntarily submitting their data and opinions at village meetings, moving into positions of genuine economic leadership.
And the project made sure the infrastructure was there too. They established wired internet within the farms to make sure the app and the neck devices could operate reliably.
It was holistic capacity building. It ensured that the human side of the transformation could keep pace with the technology transfer.
This deep dive shows such an incredible formula for success. You have basic infrastructure, the cow, the collection center, blended with scientific management that boosts productivity by over 1.5 times. Then you top that off with climate resilience, like the $7 biomass savings, and finally, digital management using those neck sensors and the mobile app.
The success story of Srijana and Dream is really the success of a system. The core insight here is that the most effective path to sustainability and development wasn't just about supplying an asset, like a cow.
It was about the knowledge.
It was about implementing a knowledge and feedback system, like the health management, the balanced feed, and that crucial $7 energy saving. It transformed not just the farm's economics, but the social structure of the entire village.
That raises an important question for you, the listener. This model successfully applied high-tech tracking and scientific knowledge to dairy farming in a developing region. We saw how the neck device and the mobile app changed everything.
A great question to think about.
What other traditional small-scale sectors, maybe artisanal fishing or specialty coffee cultivation or even localized food processing, what other sectors could benefit most from blending simple infrastructure with high-tech sensors and a mobile application for systematic knowledge management? Where is the next dream cow just waiting for a smart system?
An excellent thought to conclude on. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
We'll see you next time.